Hello, I'm Cynthia Riley, and I'm sitting here with Nancy Forgy. It's July 25th, 2023. It's so great to have you here with us today, Nancy.
Thank you.
And I have some questions for you, so I hope you'll just feel relaxed to just share your memories, your thoughts, your feelings. So my first question for you is, what are some of your first memories of First Congregational Church?
Well, you're asking me to go back 50-some years, so
Yes.
I was raised a Congregationalist.
Oh, were you?
Oh yes, my mother's family was from Upper New York State and Congregationalist, and were very active during the Civil War. In fact, in getting people across the border and into Canada, and so just transferred here for First Plymouth Church in Denver, where I had gone. Oh, my parents moved back to Colorado. Well, my father back to California. My mother was from New York, and but moved to Colorado and went to First Congregational Church there.
How old were you when you moved to Denver?
I was 5.
Oh, I see.
I was 5. But my parents were outdoor people, and Los Angeles, although they both had very, very nice careers at the time, that wasn't where they wanted to raise their children. So
I see. What were your parents' careers?
my mother was a fashion designer,
Really?
and my father was a photographer for the movies.
Wow. And did they still pursue that when they moved to Denver?
No, there wasn't anything like that in Denver. So yeah.
How interesting. But you were involved with the Plymouth church
Yes,
there
yes.
for all of your
it's
growing up?
as involved you get when you have just small children. Yes. But then we moved to the Springs,
And how old were you when you moved to Colorado Springs?
oh, I don't remember. Probably in my 30s.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I see.
yeah.
And were you married at that time or
Oh,
single?
yes, and I was married and had the 4 children, and my husband,
I
as I
see.
said, worked for Standard Oil, and he was transferred up here.
I see. So, do you remember what year it was when you came to Colorado Springs?
Well, it must have been 50, maybe 55, I don't know,
see.
somewhere in the early 50s.
And did you get involved with this church right away, or?
Well, as involved as you can get when you have 4 small children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have boys or girls?
I have 1 boy and 3 girls.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
You were very busy.
I was busy. I was
Yes.
busy.
Are they close together in age?
Yeah, they really are. So, and I didn't go back to work until the youngest was 3.
I see. And what was your work?
Oh, I'm a business kind of person,
I see.
and I did that for a number of years, and went over to the Park and Recreation Department, did that, and then I transferred to the police department.
You
And
did?
and retired from the police department.
I did not know that. And what was your husband's work?
He worked for Standard Oil and
Oh, right.
just
You did say
managed
that.
a station and that sort of thing.
So tell me what are some of your early memories of our church here?
Well, I guess, of course, one of them would be the mystery, which, of course, in later years I got very involved in. But, things that, when you're a young mother with 4 children and then you're working, you don't really you're just glad to get those kids dressed up and to church on
Yes,
Sunday. And
right.
Of course, in those days, we did dress our children for Sunday
yes.
school, and, so that was a big thing on Saturday night, getting everybody lined up for church on Sunday. Yeah.
But you were involved with the mystery fairly early
No,
on?
well, I was years later, but that I do remember that from the church, and of course I lived through several, ministers and.
Right. So can you talk about some of the ministers and?
No, I won't do that.
I
I won't do that.
Okay.
Jerry Jordan married my second husband, and Jerry and I are still very fond of one another. But no, I won't talk about that.
Well, I keep hearing about Jerry Jordan and just how wonderful he was with the children and with families and with his brown bag children's messages. Yeah.
He was very good with children.
Yes, yeah. So, how long have you been involved with the mystery, would you say?
Well, I don't know. I can't. I guess I'm guessing pretty close to 20 years I was with the mystery. And the last few years I chaired the committee. And it became, as I got older, it was obvious that I really, needed to step aside. But I didn't want to do that until we had a minister in place, a firm minister in place.
Yes.
Because I didn't. So when that happened, then I resigned.
Well, I know lots of people associate your name with the mystery.
Well, I'm very, very involved.
It's so beautiful.
It is, and I think the most important thing is it's traditional, and we have been, and I intend that. That's part of why I remained as a chair so long, and that it not be changed. It was intended to be always the same and not changed. And so every time we got a new minister, I met with them very early on and informed them that the mystery was not touchable.
Well, thank you, because I think that's one of the wonderful things about it.
Yeah.
To know that it's
just as it was.
Exactly. Just the people have changed. And it's about 110 years old or something like that.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
So thank you. Thank you for
well,
that.
all I did was, chair a committee. I always had wonderful people. And there are wonderful people.
Who else helped you with the mystery?
Oh, a variety of people over the years.
And who will take over now that you've kind of stepped?
Well, the committee has a joint. A joint committee now, and they'll do a fine job.
I always heard that you were really good at keeping the angel choir in line.
Well, it was important that, that they stand up there and they sing and so on. They aren't up there giggling and dancing around, and so that was always important.
Right.
That if you're standing up there and doing it, then you do it right, or don't do it.
Right, exactly. So, can you share any other memories that you've had through the years at this church?
Oh, of course, we had a circle years ago.
Oh, and I haven't had people talk about that, so I'd love to hear about that.
It started out, we met in, and I can't remember, I think it had Night and something or other.
Nightingale, or?
No, I don't remember, but at any rate, we all had small children, and I did that before I went to work, and we met in somebody's homes. And then it went on for a number of years, and the younger women of the church, but I was working and never got involved in the circles again,
So did you establish friendships here through the years, you and Al?
Yeah, certainly, but
who were some of the people that you became friends with here at the
Well,
church?
now you're asking me for names that I don't remember.
Right.
I'm not good with names.
Yeah.
But it was just it's always just been my church, and that's what's important. It still is.
And you stick with it through thick and thin.
And I have.
Yes.
I have.
Yeah.
It was just one minister that I can't talk about it, but there was one minister where I couldn't attend church, so I went up up to college and went to services there.
Oh, you
and then
did?
my children were Carolyn, my youngest, was in high school, and
I see. Do you mean at CC, Shove Chapel, or where did you attend?
yeah, Shove Chapel.
That's a beautiful place.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
But then you came back.
well, he called me and told me he was leaving the church and that I could come back.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But
Well, I'm glad you came back. Yeah.
well, I wasn't really. I continued to pay my share, but yeah.
Is there anything that you'd like to share about anything that you can think of with the church and what was meaningful? Were your children involved?
As they were growing up, there wasn't that much child involvement, that sort of thing. But other than being in the mystery and that bit.
Did they go to Sunday school? Was there Sunday school?
Oh yes, oh yes. And then they got in high school, and it was, that petered off, as it does with a lot of people. There was no real youth group, and there were some, as I said, there was some issues there.
I see.
So I didn't really want them.
How old are your children now?
Oh, they're in their 70s.
Oh my gosh, that's so hard to believe.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
I think you just celebrated a milestone birthday, didn't you?
I did.
Yes, that's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So do you have any advice to give the congregation as we move forward, or things that you hope will happen or be preserved, or any kind of advice, ideas about the future?
Well, of course, I would like to see the history strongly preserved and respected. And I'm well aware times change, and we're at a difficult place here because we have lost our younger parents with children. We have an older congregation, and I felt that we've always had an active older congregation. In fact, we have had several times that the church was financially in need, and one of these older people would step up, and that was pretty much true through all churches. Now, but that's not true anymore. At least that's my feeling, that they're just that's not the way we're going. And so I think that there has to be a concern, and I have a concern about over budgeting and counting on things happening, and that when it happens, okay, but don't count on it. And and I'm concerned about that. That financial bit, because we don't have the older people that leave endowments and things like that to the church. So it's really falling on people that are, their children are grown, and that sort of thing.
We're lucky we have a few really good endowments, but I hear what you're saying.
We do, but those endowments don't last forever.
That's right. So we have to be wise in how we handle our money and the finances.
And I think we have to be guarded in the way we handle our money, and expect, not living on expectations. That, of course, that to me that's important.
Yes.
And change comes. It has to come.
Sure.
I am not uncomfortable with anything we're doing now. The one thing that I guess kind of bothers me is we're First Congregational Church, Colorado Springs. All of a sudden, we're a church of this or that, or a church of this, and why can't we just be the first, our congregational church, and then these are the things that we are interested in within the community or the church faith. But to designate we're a church of this, we're a church of that, and that's not true of younger people. For me, it's divisive, even though it isn't. I don't see it really happening, but I feel that I get the impression of divisiveness. You know, you can be all you want to be for, you know, picking up papers and taking care of your garbage and things like that. But why do you have to be a church of that?
I see, to have that designation.
Yeah, that.
Yes.
And that's just somebody my age, you know. I'm sure it doesn't bother any of the younger people, obviously.
One of the things I just suddenly thought about was, do you remember when the sanctuary looked different? I think there used to be a choir loft area.
Oh no, that was long gone before I
Okay.
came. Long gone.
Because I'm still trying to get that placed in time exactly when
no,
that was.
that was long gone.
Okay. So the choir didn't sit up
No.
on the chancel
No, as
when
long
you were
as
here. And I heard way back in the day there used to be a balcony across the back of the church. Yes.
Oh yes, but that was not in my time.
Right. That must have been a long time ago
Long
when
time
that
ago.
changed.
Yeah. No, the sanctuary is basically just the same. As I remember it, and the founder's room. You know, we've done things like refinish and put new flooring in the founder's room, but nothing.
Now, were you a member when they added the atrium? Because that seems rather modern.
Yes. Oh, you think it's modern now? We were married. I was married the second time. My husband and I were married there, and Jerry officiated, and it was just this plastics kind of modern thing. It was
Really?
it was, you know, it just wasn't appropriate at all. And, you know, and then the other building was built, and you know, I mean, that's when, and then this atrium was done, so they could join it together. But it was done kind of a.
So the
It was very
atrium.
modernistic in some respects.
So the atrium now was not how it looked.
No,
you-
no.
Okay.
In fact, it was used for small worship services, and
Oh,
that's where
really?
my second husband and I were married, was in the atrium.
In the atrium. And did that happen
And it
when
had pews in it. And,
Oh, really? And did it have the same roof style that it does now?
I don't remember the roof, but I do remember when they put more glass in there. We're going to, you know, do more heating. I don't know what the original was, but it wasn't glass.
So it was almost like a little chapel there.
It was. It was our chapel.
I have never heard that. That's so interesting.
Yeah, that was our chapel.
Interesting. So your wedding was small? Yours?
Yeah, second marriage, you know, family and just a couple of close friends.
Yeah. How did you meet Al?
Work at Park and Recreation Department.
I see.
And yeah,
I know that you dedicate flowers to him often.
I always do around his birthday.
Yes, I always notice that in the bulletin.
Yeah, I always do. Yeah.
How long were you married to Al?
Oh, we were married for about 40 years.
40 years.
Yeah.
Excellent. And how long has he been gone?
12 years.
I see. Was he really involved with the church?
Very, very involved. He ushered and he always over on this north side, you know, and he could call everybody by name as they came in the door.
How
Everybody.
fantastic.
Well, of course, same people come in the door you know, over a number of years, but yeah, he could call everybody by name.
Well, and did you and Al sit where you still sit?
I sit in the pew or one above or since I first joined the church, and
That's been your spot.
that was and there's a pew there, and the one in front, the back of it had a little tiny nail that stuck up like that, and Al always said, "I am going to bring a hammer and hammer that nail in," and he never did, and it was still there, and I think until a few months ago. But we always you had the little thing. And we always sat in the same pew.
You always knew where you were supposed to be because of the nail sticking out.
That's just where we.
And you know, most people do that.
I think they do.
Kind of find
I know
your
there's
place.
some people, and I think it's nice. They move from here to there, and you know, they meet more people and things like that. But I'm just comfortable in
You
that.
have your place.
Well, yeah.
So you were just saying that Al was really good with names.
Oh,
and
yes.
He was helpful to you because he knew
Well,
everyone.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he did, and all knew, you know, just. And when he passed away, I was just astounded at the number of cards I got from people that I didn't really know that well at all, but felt that, you know, thought well of him.
That's wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah.
That must have felt really good.
It did. It did.
Yes. He must have been very popular and very effective as an usher.
Well, but he also was a very quiet man.
Oh, really?
Very quiet man.
But he knew their names.
Oh,
and he
knew
was
their
very-
names. He just made it a point, and he always remembered those. He had a great memory, kept me out of trouble all the time.
I love that. Well, we were just beginning to talk about this memory of when this man came in off the street,
He was a street person.
a street person, and he grabbed Patti White's purse. What was it during the church service? Or
No, it was after church
after
service.
church. And he took off, right? And then what happened?
I just followed him and got the purse back.
Well, Isla and Ray Almond said that you chased after him and you ran quite a ways.
A couple of blocks.
Yeah, and that you confronted him.
Oh yes, I told him that
Uh-huh.
in no uncertain terms that he had to return that purse. I would give it to me, and I would take it back to the lady it belonged to, and that he must never come to our church again.
Were you scared at all?
No.
I know you have believed in fitness for all of your life, it sounds like. And
Yeah.
you must have been very fit
Well,
to catch up with him.
yeah.
Did you grab the purse or you just told him he needed to hand
No, I
it over?
encountered him, and then I made him hand me the purse.
You know, I don't think most people would do that now. That is an amazing story.
Well, I was told at the time how stupid it was by several people, but it you know,
You just took off.
yeah, he wasn't. He was just a homeless transit person, and you know, wasn't like he was a crook or anything.
Right, right.
You know,
And so you
was
were
fine.
very stern with him,
yes.
and he handed over the purse.
I said, "Now you give me the purse," and he did.
So did you become rather famous in the congregation?
Oh, I don't think many people knew it. I don't think people knew it.
But thieves beware of Nancy Forgy. She'll chase you down. That's such a great story.
Well,
Do you have any other memories or anything you'd like to say about
oh, you
the
know,
church?
I just gone on through the years. Just I did was what do we call him? One time we called him the president of the congregation, and all that. And I did serve my term.
You were president of the congregation?
Well, what do we call it?
We call it moderator now.
Right. I was moderator. I served my term as moderator.
Was it called a board then and not a council? Because I know some people have mentioned
I think
the
we were a
board.
board. I think we were a
So
board.
you were like president of the board.
Uh-huh.
Wow, that's a big job.
Well, it really, really was. It was.
How long was that? A 2-year?
I think it was
deal?
2 years. I don't recall, but whatever it is, it hasn't changed. I think it's 2 years. Oh, I'm sure it is.
Did you enjoy that?
I did. I really did. Dick Hall was on at the same time as one of the representatives, and I'm trying to think of who else. But we had a really good council, and we had Jim White was the minister then. And, well, we'll just leave it at that.
But that was very interesting. So you must be a very efficient person.
I That's kind
Good
of
at
position I
management?
held, manager, that I was in the police department.
Oh.
And I enjoyed it, you know, and we did, during my time, we had been a small church, kind of a homey kind of place and things like that. And I made a determined effort that the church be run as a business.
I see.
And that the money be accounted for in a certain way. And you know, just you're moving a business person into a place, and so.
So you really brought about some change, it sounds
Well, the
like.
board did.
That's
The board
wonderful.
did at that time. It really changed from this nice, homey little, I don't know, but to a business.
Was it kind of loosey-goosey with
Very.
the funds and people didn't know what was going on with? Right.
And so we just,
Excellent.
the business. There's a business end of the church,
Yes,
and
there
that
is.
we really established. The board that,
Excellent.
and I and
Now, was there a treasurer that was on the board at that time too?
yeah, we had a treasurer.
And so you were all in agreement that things needed to change.
Oh yes, and so we just this lackadaisical way of.
Yeah.
When the minister wanted money, he just took it and used it, and
Right.
and I'm not saying dishonestly
Right.
or anything,
Right.
but
Just
and
unaccounted for.
There was a budget, but nobody paid any attention to it, kind of thing. Yeah, it was just a different.
So you
time.
brought your expertise from the police department.
Well, the board and I didn't do that by myself,
Right.
certainly.
Right. But you were all in agreement that that needed to
Yeah,
happen.
that we needed to make. We
Excellent.
needed to pull things together, and
And so that's still a major concern of yours, that we do good accounting.
Oh,
that
sure.
We don't live beyond our means.
that's right. That's
and
right.
that we.
And I have been comfortable over the years that we've done this pretty well. And surely the ministers have some favorite projects and things that they are important to them, and in some cases things they wanted to be remembered by. But that has to be well balanced.
It does, right.
And
I know a big deal, and I remember you speaking up at a meeting actually about when we put the elevator in.
yes, I felt very strongly, and I still do. We spent money on that we should not have spent. There, I don't know if you've been to it, but there's a recreation center way out. Park and Rec has one way out on the north, or the southwest or southeast part of town, in one of the buildings they have out there, and it's a lift. You get in it, and it's a lift, and you go up. And that I just felt very strongly that and you can get them that they would accommodate a wheelchair and
I
so on,
see.
and even one person. And I felt that was what we should do. I never felt that we should put this big addition on the back and
It was
elevator.
a huge project.
It was a huge project, and I didn't approve that.
But thank goodness we had burned the mortgage and managed to pay all of that off.
yeah, we did, but
I know.
being a budget type person, that I didn't.
That was
was
very unsettling to you.
Yes, very, very.
So just in wrapping up, what would you say that you value the most about this place?
Well, I guess the closeness of it, the warmth,
Yes.
that's important to me.
Yes.
And it's a secure place for me. It's a place where I can walk in and feel peaceful. And I'm not a person that gets very peaceful very often, I do at night when I have my little toddy before dinner and sit out on my patio or in my sunroom. But I just a warm feeling, and as I say, I go in there, and I guess that's one time in the week that I can sit there and close my eyes and feel at peace, and the one place that I can do that.
That gives me chills. I love that. And that speaks to me because I feel a lot of that myself, and I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, I think
It's a safe place, it's warm,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know about you, but sometimes I think I don't want to leave quite yet.
Yeah,
You
it's
just
not-
want to kind of have that good feeling last.
It is, and during COVID, sometimes when I was feeling kind of, I would get in the car, or maybe I was out running errands, and I'd just get out and sit on the steps in front of the church, and because I couldn't go in, of course,
Right.
and I would just sit there and just reminisce, and just.
I totally hear you.
Yeah.
I think during the worst of COVID, it was very hard.
Well, it was very, very difficult. I don't watch the church on TV or telephone or anything like that. The spirituality isn't there.
It's very different, isn't it?
From what I know, but the spirituality of the church is important.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a certain feeling
Yeah.
there
And
that,
it's
that you
not-
don't find anywhere
Yeah,
else.
and that's not to say we don't have some wonderful, wonderful services where we have singing and
Oh, yes.
and so on and so forth, and that's fine. But there's still a certain amount of spirituality there.
Yes, and that calmness and peace.
Uh-huh.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else at all?
No, I can't think of
You've done a
anything.
marvelous job.
No, I'm sorry. I
No,
don't. I'm
you've
just
done-
not so good with names. I never was, and I'm even worse now.
No problem. It's been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.